3 days later it starts evolving into a larvae. 8 days later they cap it over. Now this is worker brood because the comb's flat. And on the back, imagine there's some more. There we go. There's a few more larvae. So the reason they have the honey around the outer is they can drag it in more easily when they come to feed it. Can you see you've got the colour wax on top there? It's different from the wax at the top there. Okay. The lighter wax is covering honey. So if I move that across, you'll see honey will start to come out. Okay, and the bees are going, oh, what are you doing to me? The darker honey, the darker wax here, means there's baby bees being in there. Because what will happen, the queen will lay an egg in each one of these cells, and the egg will turn to a maggot, and then after a week, the maggot is covered with the wax where she pupates, and she goes from a maggot to being a bee. And then what she does, the girl that comes out, and these are all girls in here, there is one boy, which is there. That cell there, you can just move that bit out of the way, can you see it's slightly bigger than the others? Boys are bigger. When she comes out, the first thing that she does, okay, lesson to your parents here, she cleans her bedroom. Right, and then what happens is the queen can then come along and put another egg in the bedroom, another bee can come through. And each one of these frames has 3,500 cells on it. So there's 7,000 bees on each side of on each frame. Okay. And the bee will live for 6 weeks, which is not a lot, unfortunately. Exactly the same. It's baby bees, more baby bees, and again this typical arc shape around the outside. Okay, we have got bee eggs in here. Yeah, there's eggs in here for you to see, and I'll show you. All the different colours in there, that's pollen. And now pollen is basically, you know how you eat meat and you eat vegetables? Pollen is meat for bees, it's the protein they need. Honey is the carbohydrates of the vegetables and then the potatoes and things. Okay, so different colour pollens come from different flowers and different trees. Okay. On the flip side of this frame, we have got a bee being born. She's there. Can you see as it's coming out?
No, shall I move over?
So what you can do, there's no bees on here, so you can hold this and have a look.
No.
Yeah, but that's a bee being born.
Wow.
Okay, and the first thing she'll do is clean her bedroom.
Face?
Yeah, comes out face first. Right, now when you hold the frame, you want to hold it at the edges. Okay, where do you think the bees get their wax from to make the frames out? It's bee sweat. The bees sweat wax. So what they do is they have special things in their tummy, what are called wax glands. But essentially, when the bee is between 7 and 11 days old, they sweat. Remember I said that the honey comes from flowers, from nectar of flowers, yeah? The thing that makes the flowers smell. Well, every flower has a different colour. We might think they're all yellow and green and blue, but to a bee, they're slightly different colours. And different flowers create different coloured honey. And what we've got here are 5 jars of honey from 5 different hives. Even though they're in the same area, always sort of South End area, apart from one, the honey will taste different. We've got some from Fort Bay, some from Holbridge. Okay. This one here, this clear one, comes from Colchester, and it's what's called borage. Now if you ever go past a big field and it's full of purple flowers, it's borage. Okay, and it's bees' favourite food as it happens. They make lots of this stuff. It's lighter and it's a bit runnier. This honey here comes from my mum and dad's garden, or from the beehive in their garden, and where they live there's lots of gardens with lots of hanging baskets, so it's quite flowery. Okay. This honey here comes from Canvey, near a field, and the field is growing oilseed rape, like a yellow field, like a yellow notes in the fields, and that makes the honey slightly thicker. Okay. And then this one here is from Holbridge, and in Holbridge there's lots of conker trees, and this flavour tastes like caramel. It doesn't taste like normal honey, it tastes like a caramel. And then this honey comes from my allotment, which is down Hampstall Road. Okay, so these bees have been feeding on lots of vegetables, just like we've got here, beans, peas, trees, that sort of thing. So what you need to do is taste them all, and I want to know which one you prefer and why, because they all taste different. Okay, honey, it's natural. It is a sweet product. At the end of the day, it's a sugar substitute, if you like. But within it, The properties of honey are that it's antibacterial, it's antifungal, it's anti-inflammatory, and it's a sterile product. It's the only foodstuff in the world that doesn't need any processing on. You can literally take it and eat it straight from the hive. Health-wise, it's the sugar combinations are healthier in terms of the sucrose and fructose, the two combination of sugars inside. So it's a healthier form of caloric intake. The enzymes and the micronutrients inside the honey and pieces of pollen which are naturally in there will start to help the body's natural defence system. So things like hay fever, if you have local honey that hasn't been treated, you build up a resistance to it by sort of ingesting the bad stuff anyway, but you build up a tolerance to it all. And same with the other enzymes inside the honey itself. It is a natural product. It's flower water. You know, the flowers are producing nectar, which is a natural product, which is basically sugar and water from the roots. The bees come along and evaporate that. They add a few little enzymes themselves through their biological process. But it's purely natural food stuff. You have beeswax, which is used in all sorts of cosmetics. Beeswax candles, a pure beeswax, burns at a different temperature to a paraffin candle. And what happens with the beeswax flame is it triggers the hypothalamus in our brains because of the colour, the light and the light waves. So as a source of light, beeswax candles light is actually very therapeutic for the human body. It's a calming light, it's not stressful light for the body, and it's odorless or smokeless, so it's cleaner burning. The third product in the hive is called propolis, which is tree sap. And propolis is basically used by the bees to windproof their hive, and it plugs the gaps. And it's very brittle. It's sappy to start off with, and then as it gets colder it becomes brittle. That is worth more than gold, pound for pound. It's used in very expensive perfumes and cosmetics. It's used as an antibacterial treatment in medicines, chest infections. They use a lot of propolis as one of the component parts. And if you chew propolis straight out the hive, it's like having an inhaler, an asthma inhaler. It really opens your chest up. It's quite disturbing. Only a small amount, it really opens up your chest. But people will use it as tinctures for medicine and that sort of thing. So it's worth more than gold. Einstein's quoted as saying, you know, if bees disappeared, then 4 years later, so would the human race. It would be hard to imagine a world without bees, purely because of the primary pollination that they do, so the foodstuffs that we eat. We will be left with the grains, so sweet corn, wheat, and oats essentially. Every other variation of food that we eat is dependent on the bee pollinating. And there's a lot that people can do to help the bee. Planting a variety of flora, not just the usual tulips in the spring and daffodils. The bee needs a food source all year round. So if people want to help, we really do need a mixture of pollination, of pollen producing plants from early spring right through to about October, November time. At that point the bees will rely on ivy, which is the last pollen producing plant of the year in the UK.
It is sort of owned, run by my dad, my uncle, but the council have put us on their sort of swarm list for Southend and Basildon, so we do work in conjunction with the council, but primarily we try and do it on our own.
Because we've got hives all over the place now, we decided to sort of we don't take any money from this project, it is purely for the bees. Maybe one day, but not at the moment. So we actually changed the areas we cover. So a bit more of a time and motion study about it.
We started with 15 hives and the target is 200. And what we want to do is not only have a lot more hives in Southend or Southend area, or South East Essex really, we want to teach people how to get the bees and get people back to having beehives in their gardens and understanding really the importance of the bee.